Hello, this interview is brought to you by the letter K. I'm very excited to be joined by Canada's own Kari Matchett. Kari, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
You know what? Not bad, not bad at all. I'm very excited to talk to you. Spoiler alert, you were in one of my favorite shows of all time. We'll get to that in a moment. And you're
Ooh.
also in one of the hottest shows on right now, which is, of course, The Night Agent. We'll get to that as well. Now, anybody who takes a quick Google search will see a couple of things. Number one, you have been consistently acting for a significant period of time, but also you're consistently delivering very, very strong performances. So I wouldn't mind going back to the genesis. What got you into acting to begin with?
Uh, you know, I had an idea when I was 12 years old that that's what I needed to do. I was obsessed with the book The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and I read it obsessively. And then around the same time, I read in a Teen Beat magazine that they were making a movie about it. And there was some sort of something that happened in my 12-year-old brain. And I had like the cartoon light bulb above the head moment. And I thought, that's what I have to do. And I announced it to my family, and that was that.
Excellent. Now, this might be a difficult question to answer, but like as I've mentioned, you've been in roles consistently for the past while. What would you attribute that longevity to? The fact that you're constantly having casting directors saying we want you in our project. The fact that you've bounced around to different types of genres as well. Like what do you attribute your consistency to?
I think there's times in any I think any actor, I mean, no matter how what level they're at, I bet you every actor at various points in their lives have really asked themselves if they wanted to continue, because it goes like this, right? It really is a roller coaster of a ride being an actor. I think at whatever level you're at. And I think at every point when you're like this, you're like, this is the best. It all makes sense, you know? And then when it goes like this, you go, nothing makes sense. And I
Mhm.
think when it's gone like that, I've asked myself, do I want to keep doing this? And every time I say yes, because it's like it's who I am and I love it so much. And so I think every time you say yes when you're on the low, it takes you back up. And I think
Mhm.
it's just like that.
Yeah. Now, I talk to a lot of emerging actors here in Canada, and I think that your story, your success, your story is one of inspiration for a lot of people. Oh, as you were getting your start, who were some of the actors that inspired you?
Hmm. Well, I love a lot of the old movie stars. Like I love Katharine Hepburn. I love the old movies, the sort of absolute, you know, gorgeous way they delivered lines and the way that they had a rapid fire dialogue between them. So I say Katharine Hepburn. I loved Meryl Streep for the longest time. She's been a long time hero of mine. And then honestly, I think it was just people I saw in the community theater where I grew up. Where I spent the second half of my childhood in Lethbridge, Alberta, and there was a really strong community theater there.
Mhm.
And I would go to these plays, like the went to the Christmas pageant, and like the pantomimes and stuff. And there were incredible actors doing crazy stuff. And I was really inspired to do it. And I was lucky enough to have some great theater school, drama school teachers on the way too. So I actually feel like the big movie stars inspired me. And then also just people I saw on the stage in the community theater level. I just loved what they did so much.
I love that. Now, do you ever kind of take a note, take a pause, I should say, and think to yourself, "Hey, I was on that show, and I remember being on, like some of these different shows." Of course, when I alluded to one of my favorite shows, 24. We'll talk about that in a moment. I love Joe on that. I love that show. I thought it was fantastic. But of course, you've been in so many other different shows. I mean, we've got Canadian shows from like Saving Hope to like shows like Covert Affairs, of course, which you had a longer arc on. The movie Mowdy, which of course I was surprised to hear that was your first time having a project at TIFF. Like that kind of blew my mind. If
Yeah.
that, yeah. But so when you go back and you think about all these different projects that you've done, are there some that are there some like fond memories that you have from some of the different projects that you've taken part in?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the biggest memories, fondest memories are sort of the ones that I felt like new doors opened. It's like I said, like that roller coaster went up, and then those moments where I was there. And one of them was a movie or a television show called The Res that I did, I mean, a billion years ago. But I made lifetime friends with two of the main women on it, Jennifer and Tamara Podemsky. I met my now ex-husband, but who I'm still very close with. But also, it was the first time I was a regular on a television show, and it was the opening of a door that I feared would never open. So that was a huge moment. And then another huge moment was when I first went to the States, and I got a pilot with actually Stanley Tucci and Bobby Cannavale called The Webster Report. And that was the
Okay.
first sort of opening in the United States for me. Again, I felt like, will that world ever open? And then it did. And then a year later, that led to a show I did called Invasion, which led to, a number of incredible opportunities, including 24 for me. So those are the standouts.
I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. You know what's interesting? Your publicist, God love her, does what a lot of publicists do. They send information and they say, that you have worked alongside, and they start name dropping. But I think we need to change that and say these people have been fortunate to work alongside you, because obviously you're the common denominator. Let's be clear here. So back when 24 was on the air, there was a rule that was there was no talking. Jack Bauer is on. We need to focus. What are some of your memories from being on that show? Because I remember you were on season 6. You had a lot of screen time, excuse me, with Powers Booth, I believe. What
Yeah.
was some of your memories from being on that show? Because that was like one of the top shows when it was on.
Well, it was amazing because I wanted to be on 24 for a long time. I am an absolute believer in visualizing and telling the universe what you want. And I visualized being on that show. I wanted to be on that show because I thought it was amazing. And that was the first show that, I mean, I couldn't turn off, right? It was just like hook after hook after. It was brilliant. And so being on that show was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was so exciting. But one of the things that struck me about being on that show is how actor friendly they were. Working with the producers, I would go in and tell them what I thought should happen with my character, and they would listen. It was really, it was really remarkable,
Yeah.
and the writing was off the charts good.
Mhm.
So, the quality of the kind of work that was happening was sort of next level because I felt like I was working with people who were really in their skins and really had a lot of confidence. And I didn't get to work with Kiefer on that, sadly, but Powers was incredible. He was a meditator. He inspired me to meditate.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It was just sort of next level stuff. It's also exciting being on a show that is watched and
Mhm.
loved,
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that kind of brings us to, of course, you've done multiple things since then, but that kind of brings us to The Night Agent, because when I started watching The Night Agent, I'm getting 24 vibes from it. Okay. Because there are some similarities, obviously differences,
Yeah,
of course, but there's some influences there as well.
yeah,
So,
for
and
sure.
the wonderful thing is that with the show, there's a few episodes, and then they kind of roll out the red carpet, then they bring your character in. So for those who have not had the pleasure yet of seeing the Night Agent, could you tell the good people what it's about?
It's about a guy who finds himself in the middle of he has a history, which is sort of revealed, but he finds himself in the middle of a issue, shall we say, and that turns into basically a national emergency. And he's sort of the everyman that you think nothing's much happening, and then he becomes the hero. So it's like sit on the edge of your chair, uh, twists and turns in a while. It's like a wild roller coaster ride.
Absolutely. And Kari Matchett, Canadian legend, can you tell the good people what your role on that show is?
Well, it's rare for a Canadian to say this, but I play the President of the United States.
The President of the United States. And let me tell you, you were fantastic in this show. As soon as you showed up, because you have to understand, I actually knew that we were going to be chatting after I started watching the show. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, what? This is our president? I love it. I'm in. I'm so excited. So
that's great.
a complete nerdy question, but that's kind of how I roll. So it's interesting because when you were on 24, a gentleman by the name of DB Woodside was also on 24, and he played the president. And
Yeah.
you played somebody in the administration. Now he's playing a Secret Service agent, and you're the president. Did you guys get a chance to interact at all throughout the development of the show?
No, not at all. And I was really sad that we didn't, because I definitely wanted to have a conversation, because I met him for the first time when we were on 24. So yeah, no, sadly we did not, but I'm a fan of DB's.
Yeah, that would have been great. Hey, DB, remember me? Okay. Anyway, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
What is it about the Night Agent, do you think, that's really striking a chord with people? Because if it was like the #1 show on Netflix, I mean, it's extremely popular. You can always tell how popular a show is on Netflix by looking at your social media. Have you watched this yet? You have to watch this. What episode are you on? Don't spoil it for me. Like,
Yeah.
I will tell you something, and if you've seen any of my interviews before, and if not, go back, they're award winning. One of the things is that I don't just say something for the sake of saying something. This is probably the most excited I've been for a show on Netflix since Squid Game. I think it's very well done. I think the way that the show is developed, and how we get like backstories at the beginning of the episode, the suspense is built. This is definitely a binge-worthy show. This is a show where you don't want to wait until next week. It's like, okay, hit play. We're gonna have to cancel dinner. We're staying in. We're watching The Night Agent. So,
Right.
what is it about the show that you think has really struck a chord with people?
I mean, on some levels, I can say that I think it's the first time there's been a big show about the White House in a while. I think American political dramas are infinitely interesting, and they're fodder for incredible intrigue and all kinds of amazing twists and turns. But I also think, like, I don't know, I've been on shows that I think it's going to do really well, and then they don't. I've been on shows that I think, oh, it's not gonna, and it does. This show, I felt like this has to do well, because the scripts were so well written that I mean, Sean Ryan, who created the show, and he had an incredible writing team as well. They crafted these amazing tales. So I had a measure of surety that it would be accepted, and well received, but you never know. So I don't know. It is, I would say though, to answer your question, those two elements, it's an American political drama set around the White House and incredibly well written.
No, absolutely. And I just want to send a shout out. Forgive me while I read this, because I haven't committed all the names to memory, but to some of your co-stars, Gabrielle Basso, Lucianne Buchanan, Fola Evans. I'm not even going to try to say her last name because I will destroy it. But she plays one of the Secret Service agents in the show. She's fantastic. Of course, we mentioned DB Woodside, Academy Award nominee, by the way, Hong Chow in this as well. Fantastic show. So for everybody who's always thinking, what do I watch on Netflix? I've got your answer. The Night Agent, absolutely. So, and the exciting thing is that in anytime something's successful, we're going to see more of it. So it looks like we are going to be getting another season of it as well. So I'm very excited about that. So
thank you. Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, I always want to be respectful of your time, because I don't know, you might have a tea time, multiple interviews. I don't know what's happening in your life. But Kari, I would like to take you through a little something that I call rapid fire. Would you like to play some rapid fire with me today, the Special K edition?
Yes.
All right. These are meant to be nothing more than fun. First thing that comes to your mind, pop it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
ready?
the first question is my standard opening question for rapid fire. What is your favorite movie of all time? And if you can't think of like one, if you want to give me a top three, I'll accept that.
Oh no, that's an easy answer. Harold and Maude. Hal
Okay,
Ashby.
excellent. Thank you. Okay. Of course, you've done a lot of television. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask for your favorite television show of all time.
Bewitched.
Okay. Okay.
Gilligan's Island. The
You can say
Muppets.
anything. There is
The
okay.
Muppets. The
I love it.
Muppets.
We got the top three on the TV, but that makes sense. Okay. You, of course, are from Saskatchewan. In case you didn't know that, let me remind you. Do you follow the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the pride and joy of Saskatchewan?
Only via my Auntie Betty.
Okay. Thank you, Auntie Betty, for that.
Thank you, Auntie.
Um, there's been a lot of talk about the consistency of Canadian actors. What do you attribute that to? I mean, I a few weeks ago I was talking to Eric McCormick, like yourself, this ridiculously impressive resume of great performances. I'm constantly talking to people who say I love working with like Canadian actors. What do you attribute that to? Is it just because we're super nice? What's the deal there?
Winter.
Okay.
Canadians have to endure, dig
Yeah.
deep when it comes to winter. And so I do believe that carves out a certain kind of personality. We don't take anything for granted. Nothing. Sunshine, warmth, goodness. We appreciate it. And so we are there and we work hard
I love it.
because of winter.
Because of winter. Winter is coming. Now, of course, you play the president of the United States in The Night Agent. But if you were, in fact, the president of the United States or Prime Minister of Canada, take your pick, what is one rule or law that you would love to bring into effect?
I would bring in the law of kindness,
Okay.
and I would institute a National Kindness Day.
I like that. I got to tell you, my answer to that was everybody gets their birthday off, but yours is a lot nicer. So,
Everybody gets their birthday off. Is pretty good, though, actually.
right? I think
Yes.
I don't believe in working on your birthday. I believe it's a day that's yours and that you should just enjoy it. And I think we should make that a bit of a national
I
holiday.
will sign that petition.
See, I love that. When the president says it, it has to happen.
I'll
Uh,
sign the bill.
yeah. My last question for you is again, as I mentioned earlier, do have an opportunity to talk to a lot of emerging actors who do watch these pieces that we put out. What is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who was an emerging actor who wants to be successful in this business?
Oh, well, I think I'm gonna not stick to one. I think one of them is don't try to be anything other than who you are. Don't be an idea of what you think you're supposed to be if you're an artist, because then you're going to be on a longer journey to do what you really want to do. So just be who you are. I think it's like the fast track to your truth, to your truth. And then the other thing would be don't give up when you're on the, if somebody did watch this whole interview, if you're on the low, whether that's at the very beginning and you know that you need to do something, then believe it, because you're the only person who can make that happen.
Excellent. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your time. Congratulations on a very impressive career. Thank you for your great roles. Thank you for The Night Agent. You were fantastic in it. I know that there are going to be so many people that are going to be just getting excited now that season 2 is going to be coming at some point. But an amazing show. I'm glad that you were involved with it. And I think let's just be clear. You're good luck. You go to 24, great things happen. You come to The Night Agent, great things happen. I don't know. So
You're awesome. Thanks,
yeah,
Katie. What a
absolutely.
pleasure.
Yeah. Kari Matchett, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Continued success, and I hope I get a chance to talk to you again.
I hope so too. I wish you the same. Thank
Okay.
you.